Hello everyone, this is Julie. Come join me in the creative design team. Today we're sharing creative ways to use tags. For my project, I decided to make this super cute mini album using one sheet of paper. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to score your sheet of paper at the 3-inch mark, right here in the center at the 6-inch, and then follow through with the 9-inch mark. Now if you keep your eye on the left hand side, I will share with you the templates so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to crease it once again right in the middle at the 6-inch mark. So the next step is this mini album is going to have little pockets at the bottom of each of these pages. So I'm going to make sure that I've got it on the right direction. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to crease once again at the 2-inch mark. And then I'm going to go here at the other side and I'm going to make another score line at the 10-inch mark. So those are going to be folded over and they're going to create little pockets for all of our pages. So let's fold these over and I'm going to just fold right on that score line that we've created. I'm going to crease it with my bone folder. I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and straight with the edges on both sides. And then we're going to cut this piece of paper. So this is how the magic happens. So pay attention to this little diagram here at the top. I want you to take your cutting board. You're going to sneak that paper in there and you're going to line it up at the 6-inch mark, and it really should line up with that crease line that you did right in the middle, and you're going to run your blade all the way down to the 9-inch mark or at the bottom of the last score line. So you're going to have something that looks like this. You're going to have a cut right in the middle. You're going to fold it onto the back side of this mini album. So the cover is going to be the peach side and then the red is going to be the inside. And then you just accordion fold on all of those score lines that you've created and being mindful that everything lines up. This is the reason why I like to use a scoreboard. Some people just go ahead and fold it, but I find that by using an actual scoreboard, you ensure that all of your corners are matching up. And that's pretty much it. Your little album is done at this point. But I thought I'd add just a little bit more. Here I'm pulling out my punch board. You can also use a circle punch, and I want to add little notches at the bottom of each of those little pockets. The reason why I like the punch board is because I can actually line it up and I'm sure that I'm punching that directly in the center of each of those pages. So we're going to go ahead and do that for all of them. And I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So the next thing you want to do is I want to add a little notch right at the top because we're going to create pockets for this little mini album. We're going to have 2 secret pockets at the top, and we're going to have a center pocket that's going to go on the side. So I found that by adding those little notches, it makes it easier when you're putting your little album together. So we're going to start gluing this little guy, and you'll see how it comes together very, very nicely. So I like to use double-sided tape. And this one here is 1/8 of an inch. It's really, really thin and it's great. So make sure that you leave the edge of this piece open because that's going to form the pocket. And you want to run your tape on the inside of the score line. So it's not touching the score line, it's just a hairline away from it. So I'm going to remove the sticky back and I'm just going to fold that directly onto itself. And I'm making sure here that my edges are lining up, and I'm just going to crease that down, and you end up with something that looks kind of like this. So this is the center page and we've created a pocket. Now we're going to address those little bottom pockets very much the same way. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to add double-sided tape. Now depending on where you place this, it's going to have an effect on how wide your pockets, or sorry, your photo mats are going to be. So I'm actually placing this directly on the score line in the center and on the exterior of each ends. So I'm going to just run my bone folder to burnish that in. It just makes it easier when you peel off the backing. And I'm going to fold that right back onto itself. And there you have it, instant pockets. Again, I like to start at the end to make sure that everything is lined up, and because I've used my scoreboard, it should. Like, it's really, really easy. So we're going to repeat that process to the other side, which is gluing down the bottom portion of the page to create a pocket. Now this part here, because we've done a little notch at the top, you can see that I'm just folding it on top of each other. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to use my double-sided tape, and I'm going inside of the score line. I'm not going on it because it's going to interfere in how your pages are going to move at the end. And I'm just running it all along the edge. So we're creating here a top pocket. So I'm going to burnish that in so it makes it a little bit easier for me when I pull off the backing. So I did use these great little tags, and here I'm showing you that I strategically placed that in the corner because I wanted the lines to appear so I can use it as a journaling spot. But my tag is a little bit small, so if I put it in the way it is currently, I'm going to lose my tag at the bottom of this pocket, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to add here another strip of double-sided tape, and it's going to act as a stopper. So then when we fold those two pieces together to create the pocket, my little tag is going to go right inside with ease, and it's not going to fall all the way down to the bottom. So let's just line this up, and again I'm mindful that all of my edges are nice and straight, and sometimes you just have to kind of play with it. If you use your bone folder, you can just make sure that everything is lining up perfectly. I'm just going to close that up, and that's half of the book already done. So here we've got our little top pocket, and by adding that extra piece of a double-sided tape, my tag doesn't fall all the way down to the bottom. So we don't want to lose our tags, because what's the point, right? And here we've got the little side pocket I'm showing you here, and that's going to work just nicely. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to do the same thing to the other page. And here I'm showing you that I've gone ahead and I've trimmed down those PML cards. Because my book is a true 3x4, I just have to trim them down to fit inside of the pocket. And I found that using my little guillotine here, or whatever you call this thing, it was really, really easy and fast. So here I'm showing you that I'm trimming off 1/8 of an inch on the length and on the width, and then I can fit it right inside my pocket with no problem at all. I will add a second piece to the PML to the back side of some of them, and here I've added white to the back side of my tags, just because sometimes the direction is not exactly going the way that you want it to, and by adding this white piece of cardstock, you've just increased your capability of journaling or adding secret messages or anything like that. So I've done that with all of the top tags. So these are the ones that I used for the top, and I've lined them up with white, and then we're pretty much ready to go. So now the next step is I'm going to play with my photo mats. So each of these photo mats are actually done using the PML cards, and I'm adding the little tab at the top part of each of them. So I'm putting one at the front, and then I'm flipping that over, and I'm going to just match it up at the back, and you have an instant little pull tab. So I thought that was kind of cute. All of the pull tabs and the mats for the photos have been done in sapphire cardstock, and the little mats are 1/4 of an inch bigger. So here I'm just using 2x2 pictures. And when you put that in first, and then when you line up your little tab at the top, it just makes it really easy just to line it up, and it's perfect every time, and it's in the center of your tag. So I'm going to go ahead here and add the second one at the back, and we are all done. So we've got 8 of these cute little photo tags, and then we have our regular tags. So I've got a couple on the side and a couple at the top. I'm going to thread those through with just some white twine and some sapphire twines. It's just stuff that I had in my stash, and we're going to go ahead and finish our book. So the book itself is going to have a back spine cover, and it's 1 1/4 by 4, and then I've scored it the long way at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch, and it fits perfectly on the back side of our little album. Now, to add a little bit of cuteness to this project, I've gone ahead here and I've made a few tassels. I love going into my stash and pulling out a few things that I already have and incorporating them in projects. So this thin cut is no longer available, but I did have it in my stash, and I thought this was the perfect project to use it. So here I'm going to show you how to add the little thread to the center of your tassel so that it doesn't fall through. So I've just cut a few of those strands. I think I cut out about 4, and then I'm just going to flip that little tab over, press it down to make sure that it's nice and secure, and then I'm just going to start rolling the little tassel onto itself. The hardest part is the first bit. Like once you get it going, then it just rolls perfectly onto itself and it's nice and tight. I'm using like about 2 inches of glue, like a segment of 2 inches as I'm rolling it down, and then I'm just squishing it all together, and it's done. That's all that it takes. I thought that it needed a little bit of dressing up at the top, so here I've gone ahead and I've cut a little bit of that pattern paper, and I'm just going to add a little topper to it. I just like the way that it finished that off. So I'm just adding a tiny little bit of glue. I'm wrapping it around the tassel at the top, and I'm going to cut it off, and we're done. So that's a cute little decorative element for your little album, and it didn't take that long at all. So now I'm going to affix those to the back of my book. So I'm going to put them directly onto the spine. Now when you put this book together, you'll notice that the bottom pockets take up a little bit more real estate because it's folded twice over, and then it's a little bit narrower at the top, so it was the perfect spot to place my tassel string. I just added a little bit of glue, and I ran it all the way up the spine and just placed my little strings all along, and making sure that I've got, you know, a nice little dangling effect, and that was pretty much it. So we're going to let that glue here, and I'm going to add the back of the spine piece. So I'm going to go ahead here and add double-sided tape at the end on both sides, and if you know me, you know that I like to add a little bit of liquid glue onto, as an extra if you want, onto the double-sided tape. Double-sided tape is really great, but once it's down, it's pretty hard to move. So by adding a little bit of liquid glue, it gives yourself a little bit of wiggle room to position whatever you're gluing down. So here I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue on both ends, but I'm not putting any on the inside portion of that spine. I'm just going to move that along and make sure that it's nice and secure. I'm going to affix my little tassels, and there you have it. Aren't those cute? So I wanted to embellish, you know, that little butterfly that's at the top. I really wanted to put that on the front cover, but it was a little bit too big. So I pulled out the sticker sheet. These sticker sheets are awesome because you can use them for scrapbooking. You can use them to decorate the front of the book like I'm doing here. I'm using my little anti-static pouch just to remove some of the stickiness so I can kind of play around with my cluster until I'm happy with it. The thing about clusters is that if it fits kind of naturally, it's a right cluster. If you have to make it fit and you have to force it into a cluster, maybe you're adding too much. So here I decided to go with like less is more, although I had so many other pieces that I did try on that front, and I'm just trying to add so many more because they are really easy to embellish with and they're really cute. But we're going to go with less is more, and this is what we ended up with. So I think that that looks great. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to load up our book with all of these photo mats and all of these little tags, and our project is pretty much done. So I hope that you like this project. And here you see me sneaking in those little side tags in the center page, which is the pocket we created. That was the first one. And I'm going to continue here with the photo mats. Now, they're sliding in really nicely into the bottom pockets. And the last couple of tags that are going to go inside that book are the ones that we created at the top. I hope you've enjoyed this project and take out your thin cut tags to create your very own. Next up is Miss Carrie. I've linked her video next. Be sure to watch all of the videos from the creative design team members. All of their links have been posted in the description box below. I'm sure you'll pick up a few helpful tips along the way. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to see more of my crafty projects. If you'd like to see more of the creative design team's videos, click this link right here. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.